Hello everybody, 4-Star here, back at it again finally with the week 14 edition of the BFL, our best football league here, and we're gonna start off here with our first ever California Cup Classic between the Oakland Grizzlies and the LA Gold. The LA Gold need this win here to keep themselves in the playoff race. And it started off here late in the first quarter. Nate Whitman gives this one to Sheldon Massey, and he breaks free, going down the sidelines, going all the way into the end zone for a 35-yard touchdown run to give them the 4-point lead here in the first quarter. And then a drive later, going into the second quarter here, Nate Whitman dropping back the pass, throws it to his rookie Seth Bynum, the brother of Randall Bynum, to get into the end zone for yet another touchdown, now taking a surprising 14-3 lead. Luke McCoy, though, trying to keep his team in the game, gets sacked by Cornelius Wheeler on that first down. It would be second down and I believe 19 here. And this time Luke McCoy dropping back here, shotgun formation, but the legendary Josh Schmidt, the two-time defensive player of the year and now a retiring linebacker, gets the sack and they have to punt the ball away. This time here on 3rd and 10, Nate Whitman throws a floater to the rookie John Clausen. He's been the MVP tight end for this team in Los Angeles, and he gets another touchdown for them, making it 21-3. Here a couple drives later here, Nate Whitman has the ball again, throws this one right to Tucker's hands, and I believe Tucker just got the most interceptions this season with his 7th interception of the year to get Luke McCoy the ball back here. Luke McCoy throwing it deep down the field for Sam Nelson to get themselves inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal here. A play action fake from Luke McCoy, and he throws it right to Otis Dumas for a touchdown there to get them back into the game, 21-10. But here at the beginning of the 4th quarter, Nate Whitman would throw this one right to Vargas for the would-be dagger, it seems, for the touchdown here, making it a 28-10 game here. But here on Oakland's next drive here on a 3rd down, Luke McCoy gets swamped again, this time Smith with the sack, and that would be Luke McCoy's 4th sack of the day. They would get the ball back a couple drives later, but with less time here, Luke McCoy would drop back, throws this one deep to Leland Jackson, and he would get them inside the 5-yard line, where in turn they would give this one to Hall, the backup running back, for a touchdown here, and they would have to go for 2. A play action fake here by Luke McCoy, and he would get sacked by Jared Lowe, and that would be the end of the game here. A fumble recovery, and that would end it all there as the Grizzlies lose by 5, and the LA Gold still have a slim chance in the playoffs. So for our second BFL matchup of the day, the Boston Revs host their final home game here in Boston against the 4-8 Orlando Knight Riders. So a few plays into the first quarter here, Anthony Vales in Boston wastes no time here as he throws this one deep to DeAndre Lane for about a 40-yard gain to put them in the red zone. And then on the very next play here, Anthony Vales throws this one right to Calvin Lloyd as he gets hit into the end zone for Boston's first touchdown of the day. And now Orlando and Kenny Harrison will have to respond here as Harrison throws this one to Patrick Parker and breaks a couple tackles, getting past the 50 for a huge 1st down. Later on in the drive, it is now 1st and goal, and they will give it to Jonathan Pritchard as he waltzes his way into the end zone to tie the game at 7. So here in this one, Anthony Vales makes his first mistake here late in the first quarter as he throws this one right to Bobby Lowe, but fortunately for them, Orlando doesn't get any points off the interception. So now after the last possession, Anthony Vales has an opportunity to redeem himself, and redeem himself he does as he throws this floater right to DeAndre Lane for DeAndre Lane's first touchdown of the day. Man, what a floater. He was wide open there, and they would take the lead. So now with just a minute left here in the first half, Anthony Vales going through the 2-minute drill finds Omar Johnson down the middle of the field wide open, and he gets the ball past the 30, taking their first timeout here. A few plays later, 1st and 10, Anthony Vales finds Corey Smith, last season's MVP, and he gets his, I believe, his 2nd receiving touchdown this season with that score. Now here in the second half, the score is now 21-10, and Corey Smith once again making a big play, getting past the 25 as they're trying to score once again to try to put them out of reach. This time Stabler gets the ball a few plays later, and he will score another rushing touchdown on his campaign, now making it 28-10 here in Boston, trying to get their 10th win of the season and trying to get first place. But here comes Bobby Lowe once again. He already had an INT for a touchdown, but now he's going to take this one all the way down the field for a kick return for a touchdown to keep Orlando in this game. And now Orlando with a little bit of a spark here. A couple of drives later, Harrison looking, prepping to throw here, and a seemingly covered Pritchard ends up with the ball. And what a dot by Kenny Harrison to keep themselves in this game. Now 3rd and 2 here. In the red zone here, Harrison gets hit on the throw, gives it to Jonathan Pritchard on the screen. He breaks a tackle and gets into the end zone for a touchdown. Now the score is 23-28. Now they're gonna try to go for 2 here. Harrison rolling off to the right, throws it to Pritchard, but he doesn't get his second foot down, and now it will be a 5-point game. Now here in the middle of the 4th here, Anthony Vales preps up, throws it right to DeAndre Lanus. He gets his 2nd touchdown of the night out of 3 receptions. As you see, he dunks that ball in, and now it is a 12-point game. But Jonathan Pritchard does not care as he goes down the field and puts them inside the 25. Now approaching the 2-minute warning, Harrison under pressure throws this floater right to Sanders, the backup running back, and he gets the catch inside the 5. 2nd and goal now. Harrison looking, throws it right down the middle to Jay-Sean Myers. And it is now 30-35 here, and with just less than a minute left, Caldwell will knock it in to make it an 8-point game. But Orlando still having a shot. Will go down the field here. Harrison throws it while getting hit, but he finds a wide open Devontae Pritchard, and he will take it all the way into the end zone, 62 yards. And now they are just 2 points away from tying the game, but can they get this 2-point conversion? A 300-yard day for Kenny Harrison. Now, here on the extra point, Harrison looking for Pritchard again, but it gets tipped away, and that would be the game here as the Boston Refs survive Orlando here at home in their final home game as they get their 10th win of the season, and now are looking for Denver to lose 2 straight here so they can get that first seed going into the playoffs. For our 3rd matchup of the day, we have the Carolina Kings hosting the Dallas Marshalls. For Carolina, this will be the retirement game for Brock Randall, who has had 10 seasons here in Don's Memorial Stadium. This will be his last home game here in Carolina. And to start this game off here in the middle of the 1st quarter, Pat Kane with a clean pocket throws this one right to his rookie tight end Huey as he gets them inside the 5. And then here a couple plays later, Pat Kane with a play action fake to Keenan Preston, throws this one right to Corey Fitzgerald, who has been surging this late end of the season, and he gets another receiving touchdown for him. And then on the next drive here, Rob Griffith looking down the field here, throws this tight window right to Damian Kelly to put them inside the 10. What a dot by Rob Griffith there. He's always been good at those. A couple plays later, throws this on the right to Rocky Humphrey for another receiving touchdown on his end, and this will tie the game up here at 7. So a few drives later here, now they're down by 3 here to score 10-7. Griffith with a clean pocket here, throws this deep to the retiring Brock Randall, and he gets the catch past midfield. A big play here for him, and they would tie the game here at 10. But then Pat Kane throws an interception right to Perez here on the 3rd and 5, and he will take this one all the way into the end zone. A 37-yard INT return for a touchdown there to put them up by 7. But then Pat Kane here would try to redeem himself, but he gets floored as he gets sacked there on the ground there, and they would have to punt the ball away right to Rob Griffith as he would throw this one right to a wide open Rocky Humphrey and put them into the red zone this time right before halftime. 42 seconds left here in this first half. Griffith would yet again another clean pocket and throws it to Brock Randall for his retirement touchdown here as he would get the great send-off that he deserves here for 10 years of service here with Carolina. So now a few drives later here, deep in the third, score 24-13 here, and Pat Kane would find his boy Chris Duncan for a quick first down. A few plays later, giving it to Keenan Preston, the goal line demon, as he gets yet another touchdown. I believe that's his 13th of the year to make it a 4-point game. A few drives later, Kane gets the ball back, gives it to Clemens, but Clemens catches the ball and coughs it loose, and it will get picked up by the defense here. And then a few plays later, Humphrey running off to the left, tries to dive for the first down, but he loses the ball. It gets picked up by Marcus Sarah, who got an INT return for a touchdown a couple weeks ago, and now he's going to take the fumble return all the way into the end zone to take the lead here, and he scores a touchdown here, making it a 27-24 game. What a turn of events here. Rob Griffith having a great time here in the pocket, but gives it right to McDonald, and McDonald will take this one all the way into the end zone himself for a touchdown, and Ney will take back the lead here, making it a 31-27 game. Now here, deep into the fourth quarter here, Keenan Preston will get the ball here on a counter play to the left, breaks one tackle, and will get past the 45 with another great run. He has been an MVP for this team, regardless of what the win-loss says. Another great 1,000-yard season for him. But then Benjamin Dexter on a third down comes up with a clutch sack, the perennial defensive rookie of the year with a great sack there. And now, with less than a minute left, Corey Fitzgerald gets the connection here. They would have to go for no huddle. Pat Kane once again trying to throw it to Huey, and it gets picked off by Hasty, and that would be the game here as Carolina holds on to the victory, holds on to the lead, and captures the victory as they win here 31-27 here as they get their 9th win of the year. And for our penultimate matchup here, we got the Denver Dynamo traveling to Kansas City to take on the Scouts. Can the Scouts have an upset here and do a lot of favors for some teams by doing the impossible and beating the Dynamo here tonight? So we start off here with Austin Cole here, dropping back here, looking for somebody to get open, but Ryan Clark gets wide open and will take this one about 70 yards into the end zone for Kansas City's first touchdown of the day, coming out swinging here as they start the game out 7-0. Bledsoe here gives it though to Quandre Stevenson, breaks one tackle, and then he's off to the races as he gets his own long-range touchdown, tying the game up here at 7. So a few drives later here, 10-7 is the score. Austin Cole pump fakes, throws it right to DJ Faison as they will take back the lead here, 14-10 here, surprising everyone here in this stadium. Bledsoe this time in their own, I believe, 13-yard line, throws it right to Baker, but he fumbles the ball, and it will get picked up by Andrews. Andrews will fumble the ball, but it will get picked up by the safety Epps, and Kansas City would get the ball back. Now 1st and 10 here at the 12. Play action fake to Ryan Clark. Cole throws it right to Vasco Laurent, and he will get his receiving touchdown today. And Kansas City here with a surprising 21-10 lead. So here we go, next drive here for Denver, and they would give it right to Lamar Harrison, and he would go untouched all the way into the end zone. I believe that was about 80 yards there as he would waltz himself into the end zone. Here, still a ball game here, 21-17. Cole this time though, at about the 35-yard line, throws it right to DJ Faison as he would go untouched as well for a 30-yard touchdown pass, and Kansas City just rolling here as they're now up 28-17, up by 11. But Kansas City was not done with the onslaught here as Austin Cole would throw this deep ball right to Dana Gainer, and he would go untouched as well, taking it all the way into the end zone for another touchdown for Kansas City, now up 35-17. After a touchdown here from Denver, the score is now 38-24 here, but man, Austin Cole was just slinging the ball as he threw this one right to Vasco Laurent, and that will put them in scoring distance here. And then a few plays later at the goal line, Ryan Clark would put the dagger on this game, making it 45-24 here as Denver would score a late game touchdown, but it was just not enough. And the Scouts, what a surprising victory here in Kansas City for their last home game, as they will do a lot of teams some good favors here, winning this one. And now Denver is 9-4 with their first place spot in jeopardy. So here we go, our final game of week 14. We got the Ohio Bulldogs taking on the Miami Cyclones. The Ohio Bulldogs need to win this game. They want to keep their playoff hopes alive against a stacked Miami squad who is looking to get a good spot here in the playoffs. And already Rex Johnson starting off strong here, having a clean pocket, throwing this one right down the middle to Matt Nash, breaking a tackle and even dragging a man past the 30-yard line for a big first down. A few plays later here, 2nd and 10 here, Rex Johnson takes a big hit but throws it right to his main BB Cash, who gets, I believe, his 17th receiving touchdown of the year. A few plays later, giving this one right to Antonio Garcia here on the very next drive to make it a 14-0 game here. But here midway through the second quarter here, Jamison Jean-Baptiste, the rookie from Frankfurt Galaxy, gets a big first down near, passing it through midfield. Deshaun McPherson here rolling down to the right looking for a receiver. He finds Xavier Gonzalez and he bobbles it, but he ends up catching it into the end zone for a 25-yard touchdown here. Now the score 14-7 here. Rex Johnson get a hit on a throw here and throwing it right down the field to BB Cash for a big 45-yard gain. But then a few plays later, Rex Johnson would throw this one right to Desmond Riley, but it would be out of bounds and they would have to settle for 3. But a few drives later, throwing this one right to BB Cash once again before halftime, and they would get themselves into the red zone and they would give it to Austin King to put it into the end zone for a touchdown right before halftime, making this score 24-7. But the half is not over yet. Deshaun McPherson with a play action fake throws this one right to Dakota Riley, Desmond Riley's cousin, and he would get the first down, a big first down there, and they would call a timeout. A few plays later here, with just under 30 seconds left, McPherson throws this one right to Penn, and he would fall just over the plane to make it a 10-point game before halftime. So now getting the ball here in the third quarter here, and McPherson would throw this one right to Jean-Baptiste for a big first down, putting themselves in a red zone here on a third down. McPherson would run the ball here, and he would go into the end zone, but no, he fumbles the ball right before the end zone, and it would fumble out of bounds here to give them a first down. But a few plays later, giving it to Jean-Baptiste for a touchdown here, making it now a 3-point game. Johnson throws it right to Matt Nash down the middle, once again his big middle target, and now putting them in the red zone. A few plays later, Rex Johnson throwing it down the middle to Matt Nash once again, as Matt Nash gets his first receiving touchdown of the day, making it a 31-21 game here, a 10-point margin here. But it was a big game here in Miami. But Deshaun McPherson not giving up yet here, scrambling once again to the left, this time getting about a 45-yard gain on that big run near. Deshaun McPherson showing his legs here today. A few plays later, McPherson rolls off to the right and finds a wide open Adam Hand to make this score here, and now it is now a 3-point game here, 31-28. Rex Johnson rolling off to the left here, looking for Matt Nash once again, and he was the star of the show as he takes this in for his second receiving touchdown of the day, making this one a 38-28 game. But here on a crucial third down, McPherson once again rolling off to the left. He had some wide open space, but he gave it to Gonzalez, and now it's a 4th down. But here we go, 4th and 2. McPherson throws it to Gonzalez again, trusting his receiver and getting a big first down to keep the drive and pretty much their playoff hopes alive. This time rolling off to the right and throwing it to Adam Hand to get them in a goal-to-goal situation. 1st and goal here on the very next play. McPherson finds a wide open Dakota Riley. As they are only now down by 3, they would end up getting the ball back just with under a minute left, and Deshaun McPherson took no time at all to make another run play and to get out of bounds. As you can see here on that last frame, the coach disappointed in his defense right now as Adam Hand gets yet another catch to put them under 30 seconds left. They would try another ball deep here. McPherson rolling off to the right, looking, has Jean-Baptiste, and they would settle for a big first down there and making it an easier field goal attempt. for, I believe that was Figgins here, and Figgins would kick this one in with just under a second left, and they would go to overtime here in Andrews Memorial Stadium. The two rivals score tied at 38, folks. These two teams have a rich history together, as they had the first two ASFL championship games here, as Rex Johnson gets sacked on that last play here. Rex Johnson was a part of both of those ASFL championship games, and he would throw a costly pick to Murphy there in overtime. And now here on a 3rd and 7, Deshaun McPherson needs a score here, and he would throw it right to Dakota Riley, and the officials would call this one a break in the plane, and they would score a touchdown there in an improbable win for the Ohio Bulldogs, as they would end up winning this game 44-38 in overtime, keeping their playoff hopes alive. So that is it for week 14 here. And here are our standings here. The Boston Reds are at 10-4 here. They would need losses from Denver and Carolina for them to keep that first seed that they've had for so long. And they've got it right now temporarily for this week. The Dynamo here, if they win this game and of course Carolina loses, they will have the first seed for the first time ever going into the playoffs. The Carolina Kings here, all they need to do is win their final game against Atlanta to go into the playoffs with the first seed. They've had a crazy up and down season, but they have ended it strong here, and they're trying to end it strong here this week in their season finale game. Of course, they are the season finale game against the Atlanta Bullets. And if they win this game, they will go 10-4 and go into the playoffs, the first seed for the first time since season 3. The Miami Cyclones here 8-5, the New Jersey Dragons 8-5, and the Golden Owls 8-5, and of course the Grizzlies, all of them 8-5. Of course, if they win their games, they will move up and up to the 3 seed at the very least. For the Bulldogs, Bullets, Gold, and Demons, all of them are still in the playoff race, and I will bring up the schedule and the week 15 playoff scenarios right here. The Bulldogs, all they have to do is win, and then Atlanta loss. Atlanta, all they have to do is win and they will be in the playoffs, or if they lose, they would have to see if LA, Ohio, and Detroit all lose their games. So they do not want that scenario here. Of course, these teams will be watching, as the Bullets and the Kings will be the season finale game this week, as we will have our week 15 recap and then the season finale for our week 15 slate. And of course, the Gold, if they win, Atlanta and Ohio will have to lose their games for them to go in, as they would usurp the Demons. And the Demons, if they do win, they will have to see if Atlanta, LA, and Ohio all lose their games here for them to miraculously get into the playoffs. Of course, for the rest of the teams here this season, the Kansas City Scouts are eliminated from the playoffs. They are 5-8. The Marshalls are 4-9. The Knight Riders are 4-9. And of course, the New York Jays, who had a bye week this week, thank God, they are 2-11. Here for our passing stats here, we have the passing leader Luke McCoy here with 4,269 yards. I believe he is just under 200 yards away from having the most passing yards in a BFL season. That was held previously by Rob Griffith, who is down here. He has 32 touchdowns, 45 touchdowns for Luke McCoy, 47 in total. Ricky Bledsoe, 41 touchdowns here, 3,900 yards. Anthony Vales here, 35 touchdowns, 11 picks. Rob Griffith, 32 touchdowns. Rex Johnson, 36 touchdowns. And of course, we got to talk about our guy D Singleton, who has 34 passing touchdowns and 12 rushing touchdowns, giving him 46 in total. So he is a sleeper for MVP, as well as he has 12 rushing touchdowns and is one behind Luke McCoy here for the most touchdowns in BFL history. What a season he has had. Going into the rushing stats here, we got Tamarick Clay with 1,333 yards. Of course, he would have to have a tremendous day next week against New Jersey to surpass Corey Smith's previous record of 1,608 rushing yards. You have to have a tremendous game. I believe you have to have about 250 yards rushing, which is still feasible for Tamarick Clay. He's had an amazing year here, 15 touchdowns. Right behind him is Keenan Preston with 14 touchdowns, Lamar Walker with 14 touchdowns, Zeke Crawford with 13, Rashard Murphy with 13, D Singleton with 12, Jonathan Pritchard with 10. We have a lot of 1,000-yard rushers here. Of course, Tamarick Clay, Zeke Crawford, Tyrone Hastings, the first 1,000-yard rushing quarterback, Corey Smith, Jonathan Pritchard, Sheldon Massey, Rashard Murphy, Keenan Preston, Lamar Walker, and then right behind him, just under 1,000, is Ryan Clark. He's had an amazing season as well. For receiving, we got Keith Manning here in the lead here, with receptions with 76. Right behind him is BB Cash. The yards is BB Cash, 1,223 receiving yards with 18 touchdowns, beating his previous record of 17. And he is very far in front of everybody else with 5 receiving touchdowns ahead of everybody else. Keith Manning with 13, Randall Bynum with 13, Tariq Jammer with 16, and DeAndre Lane with 11, just under 1,000 yards. Hopefully he can, he doesn't have any more games left. Of course, the Revolution has a bye week, so he will end up his season just under 1,000 receiving yards. But a lot of 1,000-yard receivers this season. Devontae Pritchard just getting over 1,000 with 9 touchdowns. Quandre Stevenson with 1,000. Tariq Jammer, Randall Bynum, Keith Manning, and BB Cash, all of them having an amazing season this year. And just with guys just under the threshold here, DeAndre Lane, Matt Nash still having a chance, Chris Barber with 919 yards, and Alonzo O'Neal with 863. When it comes to the defense, the most tackles here is Conrad Nystrom. He has 70 tackles, 1 for loss, and 2 INTs. The most tackles for loss here is John Malone and Mitch Johnson, both of them linebackers. Benjamin Dexter with a sack this week puts him over with 9 sacks. Sammy Hayes and Thomas Warren right behind him with 8. Kevin Forbes with 7, and Chad Holland, an underrated guy, with 6. Brock McClendon with 6 as well. Interceptions here, Aaron Tucker, he has 7 here. He is definitely a big pick for defensive player of the year, but we have to talk about Brandon Gill here. He has 6 INTs. I believe he has a fumble return for a touchdown, and he does have 2 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries. One of them I believe he took back for a touchdown against Detroit. So he is definitely a front runner for defensive player of the year, but defensive rookie of the year looking like Benjamin Dexter here, man. He has had a phenomenal season, and one of the reasons why the Carolina Kings went from worst to potentially first here, as if you remember, the Carolina Kings, I believe, only had 3 wins last season, and now picking up Benjamin Dexter from the draft, he has made an immediate impact, and he has been one of the best guys to watch here on that left edge rushing position. He's one of the best by far. And I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank everybody for keeping up with the BFL. I know this has been a long span between weeks here, but I'm ready to end up this season here. Of course, week 15 is gearing up and ready to go. I'll put up the week 15 schedule right here and now with the scenarios. Once again, we got the Demons versus the Dragons here. That's going to be I believe that's going to be our first game. We're gonna have a game of the week, then we're gonna have the week 15 recap, then we're gonna have the week 15 season finale. So it'll only be I believe about 5 games on slate for the week 15 recap here. And we got the Demons versus the Dragons, our first game. Of course, the Demons here are gonna be trying to win their game here, and then they're gonna have to bite their nails here, as they're gonna have a lot of games in their scenarios here. One of them, of course, is the Bulldogs versus the Dynamo. The Bulldogs pulling out a win against Miami, the 2-time defending champs here, and beating them in overtime this week. Now they gotta go back home and play the Dynamo, one of the best teams in the league. And of course, the Dynamo trying to get their first seed spot. They're trying not to lose here. Everything is on the line here for these 2 teams. The Marshals versus the Jays, pretty much the most inconsequential game here. Of course, both of these teams out of the playoffs here, but the Marshals want to have a good standing here going into the offseason. They've had a pretty good squad here near the end of the season. They've had some great games, and of course, they want to end up here winning this one at home against New York. The Golden Owls and the Cyclones, a very, very much anticipated matchup here. That is going to be very interesting as both of these teams are 8-5 here. And of course, this might be a 4 versus 5 matchup here against these two teams. And the Golden Owls here have the opportunity of a lifetime to knock down their adversaries in the Cyclones here, and maybe even have another home game against the Cyclones in the playoffs here. This might be a back-to-back game. This might be a 2-game series between these two teams. Of course, with the game being the most important is the playoff game. But if they want to get good, if they want to have another home game here in their playoffs, they're gonna have to beat each other out here, and the Golden Owls have a big opportunity to do that here against the defending champs, the Miami Cyclones. The Bullets here in a game of the week scenario here, the season finale, the much anticipated season finale. The Bullets with an MVP candidate, D Singleton, having an amazing season here. He has 46 total touchdowns against the Carolina Kings, who are 1 win away from getting the first seed, the first time they've had the first seed since season 3, and they want to get back into the championship picture. They have been to 3 championship games and only won 1. And of course, they have the retiring Brock Randall on their side, and they're trying to win it for him. The Bullets, though, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive here. A win here in Atlanta, and they're back into the playoffs here at the 8th seed here. Yes, they will be the 8th seed. But we don't know who they're going to be playing against. They might be playing against the Dynamo. They might be playing against the Revs, or they might even be playing against the Kings here for another back-to-back scenario. But they do not want that because they need to win this game to get into the playoffs, to guarantee themselves a playoff spot. The Grizzlies taking on the Scouts, the second most inconsequential game here. Of course, the Grizzlies already in the playoffs, though. They are 8-5, but they could go 9-5 and even slot themselves here in a 4th seed or a 3rd seed, depending on who wins their games. The Scouts don't have a shot at the playoffs, but they do want to have a good showing going into the offseason. There's a lot of questions for them. Will Andy Hewitt come back from his injuries and play for another season, as he would be, I believe, 37 or 38 years old? And will Ryan Clark retire? He is 34 years old. Will he come back for a year 35 season? Who knows for the Scouts, but they know that they have a good young receiving core, and they want to play hard out there, as this is a very young team. Aside from the 2 veterans there, there's a very young team, and they have a lot to play for. The Knight Riders taking on the Gold, the third most inconsequential game here. Of course, the Knight Riders not going to the playoffs, but the Gold need to win their game and hope for Atlanta and Ohio to lose their games so they can go into the playoffs. They're going into Orlando here. It should be a win here for the Gold here. They have a great defense, and they should be taking on the Devontae Pritchard and Kenny Harrison really well. But can Sheldon Massey run them to a victory? Can Nate Whitman make no mistakes, or even less than the mistakes he has this season, to get them to the playoffs? Josh Schmidt, the legendary linebacker, is retiring this year, and he definitely wants to get into the playoffs before he retires. He's the 2-time defensive player of the year from season 1 and season 2, so he definitely wants to get in it. This team is very stacked on defense, but can they get just one more win to put themselves in a good scenario to be in the playoffs? Of course, they're the 3rd team to try to get in, but there are teams they're going to be facing that are going to be very, very difficult. Of course, the Bulldogs playing the Dynamo and the Bullets playing the Kings. They're going to be trying to play for 1 seed, so the Gold still have a more than realistic chance of getting into the playoffs. So, and the Revolution have a bye week, so that's going to be good for them. They can sit back and watch and see if they get the 1st seed, the 2nd seed, or even the 3rd seed. but they still do have a home game coming up next week, so they will be sitting there waiting to see which team they face off here in Boston. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's been a long it's been a long time between videos. I've been trying my best. I've been working. I've been playing other games here, and of course this is a hobby of mine. I am very much enjoying it, but this is a great hobby to have, and I love that there are guys that are rooting for certain teams here. There are certain fans of certain teams, and that's all really I wanted here. This is a great league, and we're gonna be trying different things going into the off season, seeing if we want to add players that you guys submitted. There's gonna be a lot of things that I want to try to do, even having the development league. Do I bring back the NFL Europe for another season? That's going to all be on the table here, but for now we're having a great time here, and week 15 is going to be coming up. Of course, like I said, we got the Demons and the Dragons, then we got the week 15 the 5 games on slate, and then of course the last game is going to be the Bullets versus the Kings. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next video.